Hello, we've made it. Sorry, I was running a minute late. The reason I have these old comics here is that my folks came to visit and they dropped off a couple of boxes from their place. So I got to look at some of my old comic books, which has been fun. There's some key issues in there. There's like early X-Men stuff. Most of the Byrne X-Men run. Yeah, we're going to be inking. This is the last new line art for Undersea Hero, and we're going to be inking probably a chunk of this first page, the side of this page. I mean, it's a two-page spread. I treat it as one page because it is one single collective piece. I just have it as two sheets of paper and they link together like this. And this is the second half of the heist / music number. After that, there's half a page I have to redo from an earlier page, but I'm going to scan everything first, get everyone started, and I'll finish that as they're laying flats and I'm lettering. So I did get some new art supplies. I got some replacement brush tips. I have not been able to find the sable bristle Kiritaki brush pen replacements, so I had to buy some of the nylon synthetic, and they're okay. I also got these to try. This is a new Kiritaki product, and it is a different brush pen, and it is supposedly fiber. And I also got these. This is another Kiritaki product that is a refillable pen, and it's like a felt tip pen. So it's like a flare pen that you refill, and I refilled it with my usual ink. So we're going to be using that some tonight, along with our other usual tools. And I got some replacement lead just because this is what I use. I use the Uni lead. I use the blue to start, 0.5 for most stuff, and then 0.3 for like little teeny details. So right now we'll get started, and we'll see how far we get. Try to do our best, do a good job. I'm actually going to use this to do the lettering first, just to see if I can make this look cool. It throws down a lot of ink. So it kind of operates more like a quill in that regard. I have to worry about smudging, because you can see how wet it is, how much ink it's laying down. I have to move quick when you have a tool that's laying down a lot of ink like that. I was able to move the camera so I'm not reaching quite as far as I had been, so it's a little bit closer to my natural drawing position, which is going to be helpful, be a little more comfortable. There we go. That looks pretty good. Grab our filler brush and see if we can do our panel borders. I just wanted to try that tool out. I had an instance there. Marthas, I think I saw that you emailed me. I think I'll check it out when I get off here. I've just been super busy. Sorry I didn't get back to you. I don't know if how it is wherever anybody else is, but in good old Massachusetts, it is still about 90 degrees out, so it's very warm in the studio right now. I do have a window next to my desk, but I'm not even sure if opening that will be helpful. Maybe after we finish the panel borders, we'll give it a shot. Actually, I always enjoy doing the panel borders because it's to me it's important for Undersea Hero because the overall look and feel is that of like this undersea window. And if you ever like open your eyes underwater, there's like a little bit of blurriness or like just movement, and that's kind of what I was trying to create here. I also just like the natural line. I think that I prefer it to the dead line of the ruler when you use that for panel borders. I'm always looking for ways to liven that up a little bit. I'm going to try to do some flush panel borders with that new pen I just showed off. That might give it some, what I like to call bounce. For some reason, I lost everybody for a second there. Let me see where we're at on this pen. If we can bleed out just a little bit of the excess ink and see if we can pull this off. Yeah, I think it's laying down too much ink for this line. It's going to take some practice to get used to this new pen. I like it. It's just going to take some practice. Because each new pen like lays down ink differently, and then the hilt is actually it's longer than I'm used to. It's a foot. Let's try one of our more familiar tools for getting the other line right. Hey, looking for tools. That's what everybody came here for, right? Some are still in my bag. nice brush pen. Wow, we went from 2 people to 6 real quick. So welcome aboard, folks. Hey, Martha. Yeah, thanks. Working hard. Trying to get there. Trying to get this thing over the finish line. I do have people, patiently waiting for the book, and I'm sorry it's taken so long, but it has been a journey, and I'll be documenting some of that in the stretch goal making of booklet, which we've seen a lot of the behind the scenes. I've never broadcast the production of a whole book before. Like, I'm also going to do like a time lapse of all the pages we've worked on YouTube, which is hundreds of episodes at this point, like over 100 episodes. Not hundreds, but over 100 episodes worth of content. Let's see if opening this window helps. Get the air at all. There we go. What are you working on tonight, Martha's? Anything good? Character designs, quick pages. I know you were working on some coloring stuff. I need to get my ruler to ink a good chunk of this page. This panel, excuse me. Page, panel page. I can speak. I have the ability to speak. Let's work on this little front window dealy. Again, the beauty of having a beveled ruler where you can just use the grid that's built right in to help with parallel lines. Instead of drawing 2 little marks on each side over and over and over again, you can just slide it down as far as it need be and draw your line. And if you have to be perpendicular, you can just line it up, draw your line. Hey Brian, good to see you. Stretch goal for a pair of social buddies. Cool. some of this I'm actually drawing in ink more than inking. Like that's a inking I use as a loose term for the process of using inking tools. Some people inking is just like a smoothing and darkening of lines process. For me, there's still drawing to be done. And we were talking about that when we were looking at that Steve Rude book a few episodes ago, where like even an artist like to the immense caliber of a Steve Rude, he's still making drawing decisions when he's at the inking stage, and a lot of great artists are. It's just a different way of finishing the page. I like having one extra crack to fix something, and that's kind of how I see it. This is just a very simple sign. Oops, that was a little off kilter. I have to fix that. That's okay. These are going to be fully darkened out lines anyway, so we don't have to be too precise right now. June Lockhart, yeah, very nice. Met her at several Comic-Cons over the years. Yeah. Very nice. Where is my vanishing point? I kind of just eyeballed it, so we're going to have to pick one. I'll just say it's right there. That's our vanishing point now. Were you a big Lost in Space fan, Patrick? Is that the basis of your celebration? I liked it when I was younger. I would watch it on, I think the Sci-Fi Channel had it on. I tried watching it as an adult, and some of the early episodes were pretty good, but the later episodes tended to be more like Will and Dr. Smith. I like the episodes where Colonel West and everybody was in there. Major West, yeah. Don Mark Goddard, right? That was his name, wasn't it? He was another person, and actually, he was from the New England area. Because when I was at a comic convention once, my dad was actually with me, and he loved Lost in Space when he was a kid, and he struck up a conversation with the guy who played Don West there, and they just stood around and talked about the Red Sox. Which, my dad he liked comics well enough as a kid, but he'd rather stand there and watch and talk about the Red Sox if he had his choice between talking about comics or the Red Sox. He would choose the Red Sox. Marina is just she's not. I didn't pick an ethnicity for her, but I would describe her as having, not pale skin. But it's I'd leave it to people's interpretation, so that they can identify her as they wish as they read the comic book. 2D Gorillas, hello. I don't know if I've seen you around before. Welcome. Working on our graphic novel book here, and we're having a good time. There's good people here, so you're in good company. I'm lucky that I get to hang out with nice people every week on this stream, and you listen to me ramble on and watch this book get made. So I think pretty much everybody in the stream is a backer, I think. Hey, Jonathan, good to see you. It is just as warm where I'm at as I'm sure it is where you're at. I don't have any AC in my studio, so it's starting to get a little sweaty, I won't lie. I'll be taking a shower after tonight's episode, I believe. Brian says John Williams wrote the theme for Lost in Space. I believe it was one of his earlier compositions way before Star Wars. Yeah, that would be early. I didn't know that. That is great trivia. That is great trivia. Good pull, Brian. Brian coming with the knowledge. I saw the picture of your acting gig. Brian will be taking photo ops at the next Comic-Con, I think. As he has now appeared in a feature film. Or he will be appearing in a feature film. Hello. No, I don't think anyone will think it's Jan, because Jan is purple. Her skin is purple. That makes Jan easy to distinguish. I don't think I have a copy of issue 0 handy. If I do, I might. Let me just see if I can pull the thing up. If it's right here, I'll show you. If it's far away, I don't know if I can. Yeah, here's one of those sketch covers that we did. You can see what Jan looks like. Yeah, see, she's got like purple skin. Sweatbox, Disney animators, I would believe that. I would believe that Mr. Disney would skimp out on the fans for the old man animating away. The sweatiest job I would say I ever had was when I was working for a fishing tackle store. Upstairs, in a windowless room, we would do some of the repairs, and that was very sweaty. So, Martha says proper maintenance for a Lasco box fan. Buy a new one, swap out the motors, and return it to the store. Excuse me. Unfortunately, Jay said he won't be able to make it this evening. So if anyone's looking for my buddy Jay to come in and drop a few F-bombs, unfortunately, he is indisposed this evening. He and I are still working on how to do our own like late night podcast or video blog or whatever, just where we hang out and bring forth the repartee that we've become known for over the years. Brian says days of Disney animators with no air conditioning, they had to stop uh, inking and painting cells during the summer because the animators' sweat kept dripping on the cells and blurring the paint. We're not too far off from that in here tonight, but India Ink's pretty resilient, so if we have to call it an early night so I can take a shower, we may well do that. But um, here's our wide-eyed change clerk at the Undersea Casino. I'm Jay Straight Man. Yeah, something along those lines. And Jay always gets concerned when I join him in the colorful discussions, shall we call it that? You're well aware, Patrick. You know the J brand, as it were. If we're talking in the parlance of our internet days. Martha says that they heard Disney tunnels were to transport wheelbarrows of cells in the rain. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I wanted it to seem kind of like less than reputable, so I put like a checks cashed sign at the bottom, like at a pawn shop or whatever. Caleb, good to see you, man. Oh, I didn't mean anything by it. I just use variable pronouns in general. But I'm happy to refer to you however you prefer. So. The floors I will grid out very simply, and I'll actually just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't need to be perfect, and you'll rarely hear me say that. But when it comes to floor textures, I tend to give myself a little bit of grace and take a break on that stuff because people will notice if it doesn't point to the right uh, vanishing point. Like it's just something that makes it look off. But if they're slightly different sizes, I've never seen an issue with that, especially when it's done, fairly intentionally. The mind does wonder, Patrick, where the J brand would go if it was truly adhering to the possibilities of internet commerce and truly exploiting it. I'm sure the J brand energy drinks are not far off. High powered J, I don't know. There are so many possibilities for that. He just needs a good business manager. You need somebody to pop in and just to exploit the J brand. He wants nothing more than to sell out. I tell you, I've been having a good time drawing this last page or so. Some of the other late pages, like I was really just plowing through, just trying to get them done. But I've been letting myself enjoy these pages and spending the time that I think they deserve to really finish them off, so that the last pages are no less recognizable than the earlier pages. One of the things I do when I'm doing my planning of designing a page is I do also try to plan out the textures. Now, what I mean by that is I will plan for the different items that you see in different planes to have distinct textures so that it's easy to tell, even in black and white, what is what. And here I'm just using the grid that's printed on the ruler to help me just ballpark the right lines here. I think we got 3 there, 3, less than 3, just a little less than that. Go like that. That'll be our floor. Guinness involvement. The J brand energy drink would be both an upper and a downer, as alcohol and caffeine. We'll have to do some product designing. I'll design some labels for high-powered J or whatever we decide to call it. Sure, Caleb. Thanks, man. Yeah, we're on the last page of line art, so we get these done, and we'll get my team going on the colors, and we'll get the lettering. I do have half a page on an earlier page that I want to redo, but that I will do after we get everything assigned. And then I have to send out the surveys, the like where do you want your book shipped survey, which is that's exciting. That'll probably take me a couple weeks to get done and out to people because I'm told that's a pretty involved process of putting that together. Pat says my buddy Deb Lang and I were texting about alleged serial killer stalking going on this year. I joked that Jay Kenny could scare off the Zodiac. Just be like, just have Jay take him for a tour around. He'll give him the official Kennedy tour of Southie and surrounding boroughs. I think he's got a show coming up next week. So if you want to, Jay will have his books. He's got a new cover he's got coming out. He's got all kinds of stuff. So check out his page and give him a follow if you don't already. I think most of the people here know Jay and already follow his stuff. I think the next cover is an Archie cover. I'm not sure. He mentioned it to me. I think he might have even shown me part of it, but I forgot. Oh, we've got some spam. We've got some Twitch spam. I get the most spam from Twitch, I would say. I get the most random new people from YouTube, but I get the most spam from Twitch, I would say, as far as the platforms we broadcast this show on. Do I remember Zen the Intergalactic Ninja? Of course I do. I was a child of the mid 80s, so like all that stuff. He had an Archie comic, he had a video game. Um, I met Stern at a show, and I met Bill Mouse, one of the artists at San Diego one year. And he was just set up in Artist Alley. He had those Nera comics he'd made. He had new books he was working on. That guy just prolific independent artist. But yeah, during the boom of the late 80s and 90s, like those books just, they were available from multiple distributors and they put out a lot of them. And they got some push. I think there was a video game even. I don't know if he ever had an animated show. I find using two different types of erasers does the best job in getting rid of all the pencil. I'll use that kneaded eraser first to pick up the easy stuff, and then I'll come back in with the plastic eraser. I thought about having like a hard black here just to make this a stronger silhouette. We'll see how it looks when I fill in kernel feathers here to see if that makes me want to balance it out. I think we're okay. He was a random OC for the stream that I do a 1 hour page for. Oh, okay. Glad he wasn't another waifu. Do I know what a waifu is? I don't know if I do. I would have to, if I'm being honest, I'd have to Google that. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Page 12, nice. Is that the title of the book, Slop? Hey, thanks, Pat. I look forward to mailing them to you. That I cannot tell you how happy I will be when this thing is in the hands of other people. And I just hope it makes people laugh and forget about any troubles they have for just a little part of their day. That would make me very happy. It's the anime girl of some anime otaku's dreams, pronounced Wi-Fi. Okay. See, I had no idea. Had no idea. Learned something new today. Try sitting down, see if that helps with the overheating. So I am definitely sweating. I'm going to assume that I smell terrible. Drawing stuff from different angles can be tough, especially without reference. So here I'm kind of like inventing some of it as I go, and we'll see if it works. Artisanal hand-drawn slop is the genre. I'm going to think of a proper pretentious AF title that would please the Damon typewriter main character. Oh, nice. Yeah, there was a comic back in a long time ago called Plop. That's why I didn't know if it was a title. That was one that it was like a comedy book that DC did. Oh, thanks. Get our pen here for these little tiny teeth that he has. It might be cooling down. No, likely not. Likely not. As you can see, I'm using a pretty fine tool here, and I'm having to make some of those drawing decisions right here on the board. The right lines are in there, but I didn't fully flesh them out when I penciled them. So I have to kind of pick them out. Here we have Jan with like a tiny little spear gun holding up the purser. Drawing the hair. Takes a little time to draw. Just because you want to give it some volume and get the lighting right. Or at least that's what I'm trying to do. People driving loudly through a backstreet neighborhood on their vroom vroom cycles. Coincidentally, that one of the books that you just read for the Dime Box research was Black Cat Foiling a Robbery at the Hollywood Bowl box office. That is a fun coincidence, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the many projects I'm very much looking forward to having some fun on. We're all through here. Turn our page so we can do some. There's an old guy, Linda Turner. I didn't know that was her alter ego. I don't remember that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, old guy with a motor track. The worst. And look, if we were close to a highway or something, I'd be like, sure, you wanna speed off to the highway, I get it. We are nowhere near a highway. This is just a quiet little road in town, and gotta go vroom vrooming along. Sometimes when I reach this point during a stream on a page, I'll start to rush myself, but I'm doing okay. My hand will move faster than my brain, and I'm just making like these marks from either memory or from just experience. So, yeah, Born to be Wild. All right. Here we've got to fix these fingers a little bit. I'm going to start here. Makes you think it started to rain. And see, like these lines are in here, but I didn't define them enough. So, like, if I had sent this page off for somebody else to ink, which I like never do, I was setting myself up for the inker to make those decisions, and that's not being a good collaborator. Unless you're working with a finisher, and that's a whole different job where you're just providing like layouts and storytelling for them to do all the rendering and stuff, which I've never worked with a finisher before. It's kind of an old school thing. Artists like Tom Palmer and Klaus Janson, and you know, I should say the late Tom Palmer. Um, that was something that they were asked to do all the time because they tried to, at like Marvel, they would try to get John Buscema on as many books as they could because he's a master storyteller and incredible artist. But it would be, um, if they wanted more Buscema on more books, same thing with Sal Buscema, they would just have him provide layouts, and then they would hand the pages off to another artist to do all the rendering. That's a better hand. I think that looks better. There we go. Just glad I was able to fix this shoulder a little bit. Yeah, I was able to clean up that face a fair amount. It was a little too rough when I penciled it. Able to pull out a decent amount of decisions out of that. Where did I put my ruler? There we go. Some of this is done for framing, some of it's done for drama, some of it's done for storytelling. The different spotlight angles, it's kind of like the lights following them as they go across the stage. Oops. With our whiteout pen, I can fix that. Take a look on the other side and shine the light through it. Yeah, that came out pretty well. You can see when I mirror it with the light, you can see it through the paper. You can see it reversed, and the anatomy still looks good. So that came out all right. I'm pleased with that. A little water here. Use a couple more spots. think after I finish inking this face, we'll call it a night. The sweat is taking control here, man. Thus, I don't think I can be expected to draw too well when the sweat has taken hold. Arthur says I've been seeing so many cheats lately, maybe I never noticed before. I don't know what you mean. There we go. I mean, there's no cheating for trying to draw it. Oh, okay, gotcha. I see what you're saying. Brian asked, do undersea creatures and individuals ever sweat? Yes, I actually, it's funny you asked that question. I had that same question the other day when I was at New England Comics in Quincy. And the young man working there asked me about sweating. And I said, they do, but it's only for the reader to see. It's a storytelling device. Like if someone's nervous and they're sweating, well, this guy can be sweating. Let's put just a little sweat on his brow. There we go. And you may not see it in, if this were quote unquote real life, but because it's a comic book, it's important for you to see it. It's kind of like, the SpongeBob rules. My rules about it are: is if it's funny, give it a shot. That's pretty much it. If it's not funny, we won't do it again. But I think we are at that. We got his face inked. We got that upper half there inked. I think he looks pretty good. Let's flip it over. Let's see the. It's not bad. There's those first two panels that we inked tonight. Colonel Feathers and Jan arriving at the change stand in the Undersea Casino, and then Marina and Eel continuing their duet. So, and with that, thanks everybody for coming tonight. I'll keep working away until this thing is done, and I hope everybody has a good rest of their week and a lovely weekend. So I hope to see you next week, and be well, and thanks for coming out tonight. I'll catch you later.